Hi, everybody. It's Howard here. I wanted to take a few minutes to tell you about this new ministry that I'm going to be undertaking, this new mission work that I'm going to be involved in, and explain to you why I'm so excited about this. It's something a little bit different, something a little bit I don't want to say unique because unique in church terms can often be bad, but let me give you a little background. In 2006, our church got to go to Mombasa, Kenya, and help to build a church building for a church that was meeting out in the middle of nowhere, literally under that tree right over there. And while we were there, I got a little taste of what it was like to teach and train young pastors for the ministry. I only got to teach a few times, but I really caught the bug. And then fast forward to 2018, and a couple from our church had been asking me for several years to take this course that's called Perspectives on the World Christian Movement. And I took it basically because they kept asking me to take it. And I thought, well, it must be pretty good. I'll take it. Well, the course kind of changed the course of my life, to be honest. It reinvigorated in me that desire to be part of God's process of training up young men for the ministry around the world. So I got the opportunity again in January of this year to go to Mombasa, Kenya again and teach. This time it was a smaller group, but it was a longer period of time that I had to teach. And the material that we worked on was essentially a catechism for them to use in the discipleship of their church members and even in the training of their ministers. See, in the Reformed tradition, catechisms are useful. We use that question and answer format to help us to remember and to study the important doctrines of the faith. So I was bringing that to the Lighthouse Church. And while I was there, the men of the Lighthouse Church, when the time was over, invited us to come back and to teach the whole group of Kenyan pastors in the Lighthouse. And I was thrilled. I was beyond thrilled. I was touched very deeply. Well, a few months go by, and we just happened to have, for the first time ever, I think, our missionary from Kenya and our missionary from Peru at the church at the same time. Our missionary from Peru heard what I had done in Kenya and asked if I wanted to do the same there. Of course, I was very excited to do that. So we made arrangements for that. And shortly after that, I saw in a newsletter from Westminster Biblical Missions the need for people to help with the work in Nepal. Same thing. So I got a hold of Dennis Rowe at Westminster Biblical Missions, and thus began the journey for me from pastoral ministry to being what we're calling right now a missionary at large. In this capacity as a missionary at large, I won't be doing what normal missionaries often do. I won't be going to one place and settling in and working with the people there to establish and plant churches. My role will be to go to places that already have established missions and to assist them in the training up of men for the pastoral ministry. It's beyond exciting for me. Words really can't express how I feel about how God giving me the opportunity to do this very thing, to be involved in the training of national. See, one of the things that maybe you don't know or I didn't realize until I got involved with it is that, see, when we train a minister for the gospel in the United States, we expect them to go to a 4-year college and then 3 years after that to get their MDiv just to be qualified to be a pastor. And I think it's pretty much the same in other parts of the world. But then there are other parts of the world where Pastors often receive very little or maybe even no training at all. And they are expected to be the ones to feed the flock, to care for the flock, to shepherd the flock, but they have so little training. Part of it is because they don't have the money for such things. Other reasons include the fact that they may be bivocational already, or maybe the opportunities for that training just are slim. And so they need people who are willing to come and to train them up, who are willing to use some of the resources that already exist and to supplement the resources that already exist to provide these men studying for the ministry and some already in the ministry with a quality pastoral training. You know, the divergence between what we expect here and what they are able to do there is so wide. And I just want you to get a picture of that. I want you to understand why it's so important to me. These are people entrusted with the care of souls, with the evangelism to their communities, not just entrusted to preach, but to counsel, to rebuke, to disciple. And they need someone who's going to come and provide them with that training. That's kind of what God wants me to do, I guess. I need people to help me get there. And I'm hoping that maybe some of you who see this will be willing to help me get there. It's a long road, but I need a support team behind me. And I know God's not going to let me down on that, because this is what He is calling me to. So I hope this gives you a little bit of a picture of why I want to do something like this, why God is calling me to do something like this. And I hope that maybe you'll get excited just enough in what God is doing to be a part of the team that's going to help me to do this. Thanks.